Hello guys, Axer once again, and this is gonna be something different, and that different is this is gonna be an open letter to certain company that as of right now I do have, let's just say, a bit of a problem. So what am I talking about? Well, for the first one is if you notice the games here, what are they? Well, these are games that made by Koei. These are called the Warrior series games. And if you don't know what it is if you heard of Dynasty Warriors, this is the franchise because they made a lot of spin-off from Dynasty Warrior. There's a Samurai Warrior series. There's one Fist of the North Star, and there were even other one that they partnered with Namco Bandai, like the One Piece Pirate Warriors and the Gundam Warriors game. So what you're looking here right now are the games that I currently have. I did have a lot more in the past, but what happened was, well, because I love the Musou games so much, I want to share my love for the game. I gave it to some of my friends to show what it is. Dynasty Warrior 3 with Extreme Legend, Dynasty Warrior 4 with Extreme Legend, and Dynasty Warrior 5 with Extreme Legend and Empire, and even the black sheep of the Dynasty Warrior game, Dynasty Warrior 6. So the games we hear right now, you notice I have our two versions of the Samurai Warrior 2 because that's one of my all-time favorite series. Warrior Orochi 2 for the PSP is a better version than the one on the PS2. Dynasty Warrior 6 Empire. They was on sale for that one because of what I have Dynasty Warrior 6, so I give that one a chance. I guess it's a little bit much better than Dynasty Warrior 6. And of course, Samurai Warrior series. And of course, another of my all-time favorite right here, if you notice, is Dynasty Warrior 7 and Dynasty Warrior 7 Extreme. But wait a minute. You could probably ask a question. Well, where's Dynasty Warrior 7 Empire? Yes, this is going to be the biggest. Let's just say that Koei lately they're doing something that not really pleasing some of their fan base, including myself, and that is the lack of English dub in the game. So what you're looking here right now are Musou game that Koei did that even had English language. But wait, what happened? Why ultimately they removed that? Well, I'm gonna explain that later on my actual open letter to Koei. Yes, this is going to be an open letter to Koei about their business procedure, what's happened to their Musou game, and I'm not really too happy about it. And I can give you the backstory. First of all, they started doing this when, well, one of the game I have here is Samurai Warriors Chronicles for the 3DS. The game was actually ported to localized in America, but guess what? This one did not have an English dub. I gave it a pass for that one because it was in the portable, wasn't really that a big deal. So I said, sure, I got this like $20. They were on sale because, I mean, the game itself is good. I know not a lot of people like Musou game, but I do. So again, I gave it a pass this one. This one did not have an English dub. So, but first, I didn't really know that it was a foreshadowing to what's going to happen. I just said, whatever. It's a portable system, not a problem. The thing that was the biggest offender is that basically this started, and I can tell you the backstory of why it happened, is this game, Warriors Orochi 3. The first ever retail Koei game that does not include an English dub. And boy, let me just put it here. And yes, there was a lot of controversy, and I'm going to give you the backstory for this one before going to the main stage on my open letter. Is that the game that started it all, as you see there, is Warriors Orochi 3. A lot of controversy was it was the first ever game they decided for a Musou game not to have an English voice. And if you're probably wondering, well, what's the big deal? Well, I will tell you that on the main in the main show in the open letter. But again, this is just a preview of what it is, showing my love to the Koei game, to the Musou game. And here's the backstory basically first, that how it all... oh, sorry, the gist of it is, I guess there was a report Koei was not making a lot of money, not a lot of profit, they were in a bind, and there was even reports that even localizing game was actually hurting them than helping them. And there were some people, of course, complaining that how the games were basically released ways apart, which I can understand. Like in the case for the Samurai Warrior 2 for the PS2, it came out at I can't remember what year. I was still in college, but let's just say in that particular year it was February in Japan, and then September in America. So it was it's really wide apart. I mean, for me that's not a problem, but I know some people that is a big problem. They really don't like it. They always wish, hey, why can't you make your game close to worldwide release? Well, it's a case-by-case basis. That's not always going to work. So, with Warriors Orochi 3, there were a lot of, let's just say, a lot of them buying. Well, of course, one thing about also Koei was, ever since they merged with Tecmo, that's how their market strategy changed, and I will explain more in detail in in the main part of the open letter. The gist of it in this one is, people beg to release Warriors Orochi 3 in worldwide or outside Japan. The developer said they were in a bind, said, well, what do we do? What if this game doesn't sell? And if we put voice in, we're afraid that we're going to lose a lot of money for this. There was even at one point, they didn't even want to bring it out. They were hesitant to do it. They did not want to take a risk. And then also it's going to be about the community manager here. Yeah, this guy, the community manager, he's a great guy. I have talked to this person, the community manager, so I have no problem. I have no gripe with this one. But he did influence them releasing it out, but of a cost. There was a cost by doing it, which is, if you know, I just said it before a while ago, was they decided to say, let's just release the game without Japanese English dub. And of course, including myself, the reaction was bad. I prefer to buy and here's the deal. I'm a Sony fanboy. I want to buy for the Sony console. I couldn't do it because I'm not buying a digital version of a retail game. That's kind of stupid. So I cut my costs and then bought the Xbox version because they just didn't want to put it in. They just didn't want to include a English sub in it. English dub. Man. I'm professional me there for a while. Like I said, they decided with that game, with Warriors Orochi 3, they decided not to put English dub on the game. And the sad part was, ever since with that games after that, they were doing the same trend. So the question probably you're thinking, did it help? Did it not help? Well, I'm going to explain that on the main part of the show. I mean, yeah, even before Warriors Orochi, there was some problem also. I mean, you're probably going to say they probably were in a bind, like, it doesn't matter what the decision is, they're not going to make any profit, and I'll explain that. But the main point of the open letter is that I am going to explain and hopefully convince some of the fans why I believe that it should be advisory to have at least dual language, English and Japanese, to please both of the fan. Not please most of the fan and the rest of them get the bad end of the stick. And please, Koei, don't assume that, oh well, the English dub is a minority. No, it's not. It was already been proven time and time again that it wasn't. On Facebook, on Twitter, on surveys. Heck, I even did a survey on Tecmo Koei's website, and my biggest comment was, put dual language. And, well, if you heard the news from E3 2014, Warriors Orochi 3 Ultimate, Samurai Warrior 4, two of the greatest Musou games as so far, will not have English dub. Again, just trying to please the most, but for the rest, you're giving them the bad end of the stick. Thinking, hey, is that going to be, what we're cutting costs is? Well, we're just trying to save some money. But you're not. And I'm going to explain that in the main part. I'm going to explain it. And yes, I have done 3 versions, let's just say 3 different videos about dub versus sub. And I will link those on the description box about them. But this one, I'm going to give my open letter, give in-depth of why. And yes, and of course, I'm not attacking Koei. I'm not going to call them name. That's unprofessional. But I will explain why they should do it and they should think about it. Yeah, you can say, well, I'm just one guy. You know, that's okay. If I have to fight against 100 army against this, so be it. But remember, just like anything, social media, there's influence. One guy sees this video, then it becomes 2, then 3, 4, 5, and so on, and so on. And some people might agree with me, some people might not. That's okay. But sooner or later, you're going to lose supporter. That's what it is. That's how the business. The key point here is to try to please as many fans as you can. And the biggest importance here is, I'm right now to you, Koei, is to listen to all your fan base. To listen to all of your fan base who loves your game, including myself. And if you don't, just look what happened to Capcom. They did not listen to their fan base. Look where are they now. They're not making a lot of money. They don't have a lot of money in the bank. They're trying to figure ways to make some money, even pinching penny, even doing screwy job. But that's a different story. But the fact is, Capcom did not listen to their fan base. What was the price? They couldn't make any profit. So, hey, Koei, would you want to be in that position? Not listening to all your fans? And here's like a tip for me. Sometimes it's a good idea to cut a bit of loss in the short run, because in the long run, you're going to make that up. Because I guarantee you, the more people get interested because they have the language that they like, they might get into it. And I will help you make them like the game with my video. That's why I'm on YouTube. That's why I'm doing this video, because I love the game. I'm a fan of the Musou game. So there you have it. This is the preview here. These are the games that I have right now. And now, to the main show. Why, in my opinion, that is a good idea to have dual language on your games. I mean, heck, you're doing it in Tecmo games, Ninja Gaiden, Dead or Alive. I have those games and they got English, but why not with the Musou game? That's kind of like a double standard. So I will explain that on the main part of this video. Alright, here we go. Now, this is the open letter to Koei about not adding English dub on their games. Mostly their Musou game. And of course, Bandai Namco, you're next after this. But that'll be a different open letter. So, once again, this is going to be an open letter to Koei. And the reason I'm doing this is I want to give my thoughts, my opinion. Let's just say myself the argument why it would be nice to have dual language on the Musou games. And like I said, I did give a back history before on my show, on my video with my games. And here's the deal, how it all even started. And even before that, there have been rumors in the history of why, again, in my theory, that this is happening. First of all, before Koei merged with Tecmo, yes, from what I heard, again, it could be rumor, could be true, correct me if I'm wrong. From what I heard, Koei did have some, let's just say, financial problems. They weren't making a lot of profit as they want to. And some of the contribution because of it was making games worldwide, which that includes making it a US version with English language. And yes, and just for state, I am well aware. Yes, I am well aware of the cost of voice, adding voice. Yes, they're not cheap. And I would like to know, really, if somebody makes a YouTube video or provide a link, show me how much and what's the deal and how's the procedure. All I know is, yes, it is expensive, but at the same time, I believe that if someone's willingly to spend that much, the reward could be great. Case in point, well, Sony with Gaikai or PlayStation Now. We just have to wait and see. Even so that they were hemorrhaging money, they believed on Gaikai. So this is what I'm trying to say here. That even so that you're investing and you're thinking, hey, I might not get something back, in the long run, you are going to get something back. Because, again, people who don't know the franchise might come because they can also understand what the deal is. And maybe they can enjoy it, like a movie, like watching a television show. So, I'm going to explain that why. So, like I said before, Koei, I think they were in a financial problem. That's why they merged with Tecmo. Hopefully that would work. And at first I thought Tecmo Koei, oh, that's awesome. Finally, Ninja Gaiden and Dynasty Warrior in one company. I thought it was awesome. Finally, we can have a game with Ryu Hayabusa and Xiao Yun. But in the long run, I guess it was a mistake. A great mistake in my part, I guess, for believing it. I was a fool. What I get was, well, let's cut some costs for games that are quote unquote not too popular. And what I meant by that is, if a game is made by Tecmo, like Ninja Gaiden, Dead or Alive, they're probably gonna put dub because they know it'll sell well. But in the case for Musou Game or Warrior, oh well, it's not gonna sell, so we're gonna say, oh, we're just gonna cut corners. We don't want to spend a lot. I mean, to me, that's kind of like a double standard. And it's like, oh, well, just because the game doesn't sell, oh, you automatically believe, oh, you know what, we're going to cut corners. Like I said, double standard. And my theory to this is because, well, Koei is a Japanese company, and if you know what's going on in the past, some experts do believe that the Japanese company in video game, they're becoming antiquated. Heck, look what happened to Capcom. Look what happened to Konami. Capcom, Shinji Mikami left from the Resident Evil creator, the creator of Resident Evil, excuse me. The famous one, Keiji Inafune, the creator of Megamin, he left. He was frustrated with the company. Look what happened to Konami. Koichi Igarashi, the creator of Symphony of the Night Castlevania and the Metroidvania style Castlevania, he left because the big companies, they're not listening to their fan base. And that's a keyword that even now is still a problem. That companies, I don't know, they trying to listen to their fan base, but at the same time that they're trying not to. As a result, they're giving some of the fan base a reason to not support them. Like in my case for Koei, and I'm a big supporter of Koei, as you see in my game collection, well, my recent one is, they're fighting me. They're giving me a reason to not support them. Great, Warriors Orochi 3 Ultimate's coming out, but just because, oh, there's too many characters, you don't want to dub it because, well, maybe there's going to be costs. The cost is too high. I mean, they don't even have, I mean, I played the Xbox 360 version. Not a lot of them talk a lot, so it's like a bunch of one-liners, so I don't know. And then Samurai Warrior 4, when I saw that in Japan, I'm like, oh, the Japanese version, excuse me, I was hyped. I said, hopefully they'll bring it out. They are going to bring it out. They're even doing a limited edition with an anime in it, but guess what? Once again, no dub. To me, as a Koei fan, as a Musou fan, that's a deal breaker. And right now that I am frustrated, I'm sorry to say this, I kind of feel like I'm being betrayed. After that long support, I keep supporting them, giving them my money, and this is what I get. I don't understand. It said entitlement. Well, to some extent, it may be entitlement, but at the same time, it's my money, it's my hard-earned money. You know, all I asked was, that's great they're doing a limited edition for Samurai Warrior 4, but some people, they just want an English dub. That was it. I mean, you can even do a paid English dub DLC. They've been asking for that since Warrior Orochi 3, but again, the problem to some extent that Koei is they are listening to some part by releasing this game, but they're not listening to all their fans. Again, that's the key point. And why am I saying listening? It's because you don't listen to your fan base, you end up like Capcom. They did not listen to their fan base. Look where are they now. They can't even make games. They try to go to the they try to different way, like going to the mobile market, failed. And in the end, they can't make games. That's the problem because they don't have money to do it. And I don't want to say Koei to be in that situation, but again, you're giving me reason not to buy your games because you're not putting English dub in it. And yes, I'm gonna explain why, in my opinion, that it's recommended or advisory. Do they have to do it? No, they don't. However, it would be nice. That's a keyword. Would be nice. Please, and I said this before. Don't assume that it's a minority with the English dub. You did the same thing with the previous Dynasty War game. You assume that people don't want Japanese sub because they're in America. No, we're all diverse in America. That's the problem. Sometimes I'm seeing is I don't know if Koei's getting it that in America there's diverse. There are people who want their games on sub, and there are people who want it on dub. That's why the keyword is, and I wish and I hope that dual language becomes a industry standard. But as of right now, it's still not, and that's the problem. I'm grateful Tales of Xillia. I played the game in English, but apparently some people didn't like it. Why? Because there was no Japanese dub. You're not giving people option, and I will explain that why. So again, that it would be nice to have both language for people who want for its regular source the Japanese sub, and for some who wants the English dub for English speaking people who just want to play and read along. So I'll explain that. Like I said, people are diverse. Some want dub, some want sub, and the key word there is option. And the problem right now, Koei, is, in my opinion, they're not really giving their fan base option. And I always thought option is a good thing, but I guess in business, option is a bad thing. I guess. And I always say this before, that company should at least try to listen to all their fan base. Because if you don't, like I said, you want to play it safe, look what happened to Capcom, look what happened to Sega. I always say, try not to play it safe a bit, take some bit of risk, because I always believe that in the long run, it'll pay off. Again, the PS3, it was a disaster in the beginning. They were basically selling it at a loss. For every PS3 they sold, they lose $200. And then the fans said, well, you gotta fix this, you gotta do something about it. And they did. I mean, it paid the price. The newer version now, it's a cheaper PS3, but a lot of the features were taken out. Less USB, doesn't play PS2 games, but at the same time, now it's more affordable. People are willing to buy a PS3. This is what I'm trying to say. And of course, the most famous thing was Xbox One. Look what happened in 2013 after E3 2014. Or 2013, excuse me. They had all this mess policies. It was just I don't even understand why even they're in the first place. People voted with a wallet. They say, I'm not going to support this. And of course, the nail in the coffin was DRM. They say, oh, well, PS4 don't have DRM. Why should I buy the Xbox One? So push it to shove. A week later, they reversed it. And as Adam Sessler would say, it had to happen. They didn't have a choice. because this is what happens if you don't listen to your fan. You lose support. You lose support. You're gonna be like the Microsoft's Xbox One when it first announced in 2013. They were backpedaling left and right. A lot of their policy backpedaling, and they made him look like, well, I'm sorry to say, a fool. That even Microsoft loyalists were upset about it. Not because of the policies were there, but they had a backpedal, and that they felt like, wow, you can't even stick with your vision. This is what happened. Because again, the deal is, don't do what's best for business. Sometimes what's best for business is listen to your fans, and then they're willingly to be quiet and give you more money. I mean, for goodness sake, like when the Wii U, I remember when the Wii U came out, people were watching the presentation, and the thing they always say when first heard about the Wii U, oh man, just shut up and take my money, because they see something there. But of course, what happened in the long run? But the point is, don't disappoint your fan. If you're trying to listen to all of them, they will be quiet and they'll give you your money. They're not even going to question. They're just going to say, yeah, I'm just going to shut up. Here's my money. This is awesome. It has dual language. That's why. So, again, why, in my opinion, should the game, especially Japanese games, should have dual language? Especially if it's in America or in the US, a US version, or NTSC. Well, the way I see this is Japanese game that only have Japanese sub is like Microsoft Xbox One with the Kinect. And you know what happened there? $500. Nobody wanted, because that $100, they don't want that Kinect. And what Microsoft was doing, they're shoving Kinect on the Microsoft supporters' throat. They don't want it, but say, oh, if you want to play Xbox One, you better get a Kinect. Again, not giving them option. The same goes with this. You're not giving your fan base option. Not everyone's gonna just accept it, and they, just like me, they probably feel the same way as, Koi, are you just shoving Japanese sub in my throat? I paid a lot of money to play your game. I supported you, and you're shoving your Japanese sub in my throat just because you want to try to cut some costs. Is it really worth it? Was that worth it? Was Kinect One worth it to the people? Even they thought it sold good when the original Kinect One or the original Kinect came out. Was that worth it? I don't know. You tell me, Koi. Is it worth it to cut some costs, please the most, and for the rest to shove Japanese sub in their throat? I don't know. You tell me, Koi. So, and then with that, my gripe after that is that some people will always say, well, again, I said this time and time again, well, at least they're bringing it out. Again, that's great, they're bringing it out, they're willingly, and like I said about the story with Warriors Roaches 3, the history, they did not want to bring it out before because they didn't know what to do. They were in a bind with the English until Chin Soon Soon said, well, why not just bring the game out without it? And granted, yes, the Sony policy was an anomaly. People didn't know about it. I have heard about it, but I wasn't really too concerned about it until now. And that's even Koei also. They had admitted that they didn't know about it. They were surprised. Because there are some games that were coming out with no English, but there's a retail disc. It's a different story. I'll probably give a theory about it, but that's a different story. So, at least, well, you're bringing it out. The way I see it, that's a bad mentality. It's taking a hostage of the game and basically, at least you have it, take it or leave it, and they can exploit it. Like I said, imagine Capcom did that. And no, I'm not talking about disc lock content. Let's just say, Street Fighter 5. You know what? let's not have a super meter, or let's not have online because that's costing money, and we can't really afford that because we don't have a lot of money in the bank. Let's get rid of super move because that's too much coding, too much work. Let's let's cut costs in the online, and in the fancy way. How come there's no online? How come there's no super meter? What's going on? Oh well, and then someone from Cackle said, "Oh well, you know what? Be quiet. At least we have Street Fighter 5 now for the PS4 and Xbox One. You should be happy." That's the way I see it. And again, I do understand the cost of Void. It is expensive. Hopefully, there are some deals, some things can happen, some compromise. Like I said, pay DLC. A lot of the majority of people, including myself, are just asking, fine, let's do a pay DLC. $6, $7 maybe. I'm just gonna guess. Who knows? Why don't you try it? Try it once, and if it doesn't work, then let's move on from it. So, well, then the question is with that one, with yeah, well, you know what? That's not really embarrassing because look what happened to Capcom with Sengoku Basara 3, the expansion. I forgot there is a name for it. And if you don't know what that is, the backstory is Sengoku Basara 3 Samurai Hero did come out in America. I have the game. I clocked in like more than 100 hours in the game because I really just love it. There was an expansion of that game with more characters. Capcom America said, well, we're not going to bring it out. Why? Well, their goal was in America to sell at least 80,000 copies of the game, but they only end up with 60,000. Yeah, 20,000 short. Some people say, oh, that's good enough. I mean, did you at least break even or something? But according to a former Capcom market guy, Christian Sven, nope, that's not good enough. So they didn't bring it out. Excuse me. And of course, what happened when you don't listen to your fan and you refuse to bring out the expansion for Sengoku Basara 3 Samurai Hero? Oh, that's right. You only had $152 million in the bank. And like I said, another story why you shouldn't have the mentality is, imagine if a representative is trying to say something like that. When there was a story, one guy did it about Yakuza 3. A Sega rep basically said that. What do you want? Oh, half Yakuza or no Yakuza? Take your pick. And of course, like I said before, time and time again, that Sega rep left. From what I heard, that Sega rep left the company. Maybe got fired. Who knows? But statement like that basically sounds like a jerk. That's why I don't believe that mentality. Oh, let's bring it out. I mean, fight for what you believe, fight for what your preference, and hopefully a lot of this company do listen. Okay, but then of course someone will say, well, Shimune 1 and 2, look what happened. What happened? Well, the game for Shimune 1 was sold for the Dreamcast and 2 was for the Xbox 360. Both of them were $50 because that's what the standard price is. And then also they had dub. Of course, you know, the infamous Sailor conversation with Ryu in Shimune 1. And those both games, believe it or not, sold a lot. It sold well. They were basically their target goal. They surpassed it. That's how good Shimune is. But there was a problem. The creator of Shimune, I forgot his name. Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't it Yu Suzuki? Anyway, basically said, even so, that Shimune basically sold very well. They were not making a lot back. They were just making maybe $20, $30. I don't know. I don't know what the numbers is. I'm just guessing in my head. And according to them, they were just not making a lot of money. So justifying making the game to please a fan, they were not getting a lot back. And yes, I do understand in the rule of development, that's a big, big no. You cannot ever do that. And I understand. Maybe Koei's also in that bind. They spend too much and they're not making anything back. It is bad. I mean, I have talked to Shin Sun Soon about it, and yes, he even admitted that sometimes, even he loves his, even so that he likes his job. And if you don't know who he is, he's the community manager of Tecmo Koei Europe. Thing about the higher ups always telling him, "Can you guarantee us to have decent sale?" And he really can't say yes, and it becomes no. He has to make sure that he's not lying. So I understand that. But what I'm saying is, if you try it, maybe baby step. Again, paid DLC for people. Maybe, I mean, this is going to be stupid idea, but whatever. Have paid English DLC as pre-order. Then maybe people who likes English in their Warriors game, including myself, will probably pre-order it and get it. The game. Yeah, it sounds stupid, but again, at least you're pleasing the fans who prefer English. So again, maybe baby step, maybe compromise, pay DLC. Let's see. Alright. Another thing I believe why English should be a standard industry. People also complain that, well, in 1990, remember the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, PlayStation, they didn't have voices. Yeah, I guess you're comparing today's technology when it was 1990s technology. I'm sorry to say, this is what you call evolution. Everything evolves, just like technology, just like society, sort of. Is video game also evolved? Now, as of 2014, I'm sorry to say, voice is part of that evolution. Voice in the game. Look at what happened to Nintendo. What was the biggest complaint with the Nintendo GameCube? And to some extent, the Wii and the Wii U with their game. Yeah, they don't put voice in. It's just a bunch of grunts and sound effects. It's 2014. Come on. Games should have voice as a standard. And again, this is my theory about Japanese company. They're just a lot of step behind. I mean, my goodness. Professor Layton has an English voice. Wonderful British guy. Even, let's see, Lego City Undercover, The Chase Begin, that has English voice. And even surprisingly, Brain Age Concentration Training, the Uber doctor, sadistic he may be in that game, he had a voice, an English voice, which I was shocked. My goodness. So it's becoming standard because people just don't read video game. You don't read video game anymore. It has to change to I read along, not reading video game. That is what books is for. And for us nerds, or I guess for me nerds, video game magazine, Nintendo Power, or mangas, or anything nerdy. Not video game, unless I'm reading a interactive video game, it's about read along. It's not 90. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's also also should be part of the full package. And again, this is my theory about Sony. Why Sony basically has this rule for the PS3? I know they didn't do it for the PS4 because they basically relax a bit because some of the companies are complaining too much, and of course the fans. So for you Japanese sub about you want a physical release for PS4, well, there you have it. Congratulations, Sony, listen. And again, there you go, Sony, listen. For me, digital or physical, I really don't care at this point on. I used to, but that will be a different story. But there's a reason why they're doing that for the PS3. Because English language is part of the full package of the video game. Not just music, gameplay, graphic, but voices. Why English? Because Sony, especially in America, knows consumer will not buy game unless the game is in English. Well, what's wrong if the game's in a different language? Well, unless you're a fan and you understand why they have it in sub, most consumers are gonna say, "Is this a foreign game? Why can't they even put in English?" Excuse me. Are the company cheap or something? Oh my gosh! Wow, am I playing a foreign game? I don't understand. I don't want to buy this. It's not an American game, and I know I'm going to political area there to apologize, but the point is, it's a market thing. Just like common consumer will not buy a game if there's no review they can find in whether video game magazine or video game website. That's why there's numbers when they do review. Reviewers don't like it, but it has to be there. Same goes with English voice, because they might think, oh, it's a foreign game because there's no English voice. Most common people think if there's no English, it's something foreign. Case in point in movies. Oh, that movie's from France because he's speaking in French. I guess that's a foreign movie. And that's just my theory. Maybe there's something else. And like I said, in English, in the US, English. In Japan, Japanese. And well, what about other country? Well, you have to go to those countries to find out. But I also believe that English is a universal language to some extent, but that's just me. And like I said, that's my theory about Sony's enforcing English dub on retail games on the PS3 and the PlayStation Vita. But for the PlayStation 4, congratulations, they just said, fine, we'll just give that a pass because people basically complain about it. And again, like I said, Sony listen. Koei, take some note. Sony just listened to their fan base about the situation. If it wasn't for them listening to Sony, your game probably wouldn't be released in the PS4 or Xbox One as a physical media. Me personally, doesn't matter. If I'm done with the game, I'm just gonna remove it like an iPod. That's a theory for it. And also another gripe of mine is, like I said, English is, I believe, is part of the full package. It's kind of like a rip-off that you're selling a game for full price, like Samurai Warrior 4 and Warriors Orochi 3 Ultimate for full price without English. That's kind of like a rip-off in my opinion. I'm sorry. If you disagree with me, that's fine. But in my personal opinion, that's a rip-off because, again, just like I said about option, you're not giving people option. So if you're not going to give people option, at least compromise with that. Why not $10 less? Like for the PS4 version, why not $50? And for the PS3, why not $40? Like I wish it was $10 lower, because you know what? Guess what? Konami for Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zero, guess what they did? For the PS4 and the Xbox One, believe it or not, they listened to their fan. The biggest complaint was, wow, $40 for this 2-hour game. That's kind of BS. I'm not buying it. Yeah, we're not buying it either. So the majority of people did not want to buy Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zero, and they're a Metal Gear fan. Guess what Konami did? For the PS4 and Xbox One, they listened. They dropped it off $10. Koei, you probably want to consider that. I mean, like I said, I still have a gripe with not putting dub in your game, but you're selling it for full price. I'm sorry, that's like a rip-off. That's like way rip-off. At least $10 off, in my opinion. I mean, if you do that, I might reconsider. But right now, my consideration about buying those games are just slim. I never said I'm not gonna buy them, but you're giving me reason not to. So yeah, it is. Those are my theory about it, my opinion why I think, especially in the US, for NTSC version of game, at least to have dual language. Let's say dual language, Japanese and English, so you can please most of the, not just most,
Maybe all of your fan, including myself. Why not? So, but then here's for right now. This is gonna be for the people. Let's just say for who prefer dub in their Koei games. What can we do? What can the community do? All right, like I said this before. One is social media. We're in 2014. The internet, it's a big thing. It's not an infant anymore. It's an adult. Twitter, Facebook, forum, YouTube, podcasts, you name it. Let your voice heard. Just say anything. Go to Tecmo Koei's website. Heck, even Namco Bandai. Same deal. Let your voice heard. Say, hey, if you don't consider this, I might not buy it. Some people might say, hey, I got a problem with it. I'll support you even you don't have any dub. Again, that's okay. You're speaking for yourself. You're not speaking for the community. But the point of speaking yourself is that one can become two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and so on. That can grow. And you say, well, that doesn't been proven. Well, look at what happened to the Xbox One. They reversed all their policies, and as of June 2014, they have a new SKU for Xbox One, a $400 Kinectless Xbox One. That's what people wanted. Again, option. Another thing you can do: write a letter to Tecmo Koei, like a real old school, because just like my video on my YouTube, old school never doesn't die. Here's the deal: write a letter to them if you can find their address, whether it's Tecmo Koei, Namco Bandai. Another one: don't support them. Vote with your wallet, because in the end of the day, business sees money, not your mouth, not your pose, not your video. Like, wait a minute, but before that you just said do it. Yes, do it to make them well aware. But what's really going to be effective is you vote with your wallet. That sale that should be to, let's just say, Samurai Warrior 4, you can go somewhere else. Like, let's see. Oh, you know what? Ultra Street Fighter 4. How's that? Or better yet, Call of Duty. Because Call of Duty makes a lot of money in the West. See, instead of that money going to Samurai Warrior 4, that can go to Call of Duty. And then Activision, maybe with those money, they can provide you with more stuff. Rip-off stuff, yes. But the point is, that money, now Call of Duty makes more sale instead of Samurai Warrior 4. Because you're voting with your wallet. If you don't support them, and they basically sees, well, we're not making a lot of profit here, what's going on? Maybe they realize. Again, consider a paid DLC if you are, Tecmo Koei are worried about funding when you're putting voice in. Again, another one that they always say, if you vote with your wallet, even yes, Alpha Omega Sin, even an influential guy on YouTube basically even said sometimes that attitude shouldn't even happen. But I'm sorry to say, if company don't listen, I'm just not gonna say, okay, I get it, I'm gonna back off. No, I'm sorry, you shouldn't. Again, if a franchise is gone, let's just say Sengoku Basara 3, the expansion, that's not your fault. It's not the fans' fault. You tried to support it. You asked them for the expansion, and they said no because of the sale. Again, if it's gone, that's not your fault. That's their fault. And again, Capcom not listening to the fan. Look what happened. Not a lot of money in the bank. That's why I always advise the company, you should listen to your fans. All of them. I know some experts say not really a good idea because sometimes not listening to a fan can go the other way. I do understand that, but is it really that worth it? Is it really worth the risk to say, yeah, they want this, but we're gonna take a risk and not put it up anyway? because it's not worth our money. We're taking a risk for not listening to them. Well, it depends. I mean, again, sometimes that actually worked. Like Nintendo in the past, that worked, and of course, apparently Namco Bandai, apparently that worked because they're making progress profit. But of course, granted that that's only in Japan, not in America. But the point is, by not spending a lot of money in America by adding dub in their game, they basically were able to save and of course get more profit because of the Japanese sale. Maybe a different story, but sometimes that happens. So again, like I said, social media is your friend, and if they do listen to their fans, the fans will give you more money. Case in point, Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zero. Okay, so this is again for people who want dub. You're probably gonna say, well, this is not, they're not obligated. Why should they listen? You don't know anything about the company. Well, you're right. Fans are maybe, they don't know how the company works, but at the same time, your fans, or to some extent your consumer, let's just say if Koei's fans and consumer, they're part of the equation. Without them, you probably wouldn't make any money. You probably, there wouldn't be more Musou game, Warriors game because of them. Yeah, they're not obligated to listen, but at the same time, it would be advisory. Because if you try to listen to your fan, they'll throw more money to you. It happened. Happened to Sony. After a while, when they did a lot of the changes with the PS3, people were throwing more money at them. Konami's Metal Gear Solid 5, there were more people are willing to buy it. Heck, even the Wii U to some extent. Mario Kart 8. Nintendo listened to the fan by adding in online. They bought the game. Granted, there's a promo, but it's still Mario Kart 8. It's a good game. I have it. So, yes, I do understand that Shin Soon and probably also the Tecmo Koei community manager of Tecmo America is on their butt, basically being always asked, can we guarantee we're going to have some decent sale? Like I said before, I know I'm repeating myself, but it's worth repeating. Paid DLC. That's a compromise. Just think about it. So, do I still have hope for Koei, Namco Bandai? In my opinion, yeah, I still believe on them, even so I'm having a hard time supporting them because you never know. Maybe they'll have a change of heart. Maybe they'll finally listen and say, fine, we heard you, you want English DLC, we're gonna give it to you as a dub DLC. But since there's a lot of characters we have to do for, say, let's just say Warriors Orochi 3 Ultimate, it'll be a little bit stiff. Are you willing? And I'm surprised they should do a survey. I mean, Tecmo Koei, Namco Bandai, you have a Facebook page, you have Twitter. Why not make a survey and basically make a question? How much would you pay realistically for English dub DLC? Realistically. So, this is my personal opinion. Maybe minimum is $6. Maximum, I hate to say this, but to be realistically, $12, because you are putting a lot of English voice on those characters, and again, it'll probably please the English-speaking gamer who prefer dub, including myself. Again, the key word is trying to consider do paid DLC. So hopefully. And then, of course, what happens if they really don't listen? And all I can say is really don't support them at this point on and just move on. Because sometimes, even if you try and give your voice to them, you let them hear your voice. Companies can be stubborn, and when it's push comes to shove, sometimes stubbornness can be a reward can also be a consequence, but again, it depends what the situation is. So, again, let your voice be heard, but if it's push come to shove, they really are not listening, well, I mean, you really can't do anything about it. I guess you can say all hope is lost. But for me personally, I think Koei and Bandai Namco, they still have something. Because, especially Bandai Namco, because yes, they might not be Tales of Heart R. They may not probably dub it because it's on the Vita. But granted that on the console, Tales of Xillia 2, and of course the latest new Tales of Zetaria, that's going to be dubbed. I think it was already confirmed. And the Naruto game, I think they're dubbed. Correct me if I'm wrong in that one, but it should be. But it's Naruto. I mean, I like the anime. I know they didn't do it in One Piece and Gundam Warrior again, but like I said, pay DLC. I mean, it's a compromise from consumer who's probably willing to pay money just to have English, because like I said, they just prefer English. Or maybe like in the case for One Piece or Gundam, they grew up with it, and at the same time the business, you'll probably make some profit back. Same goes with Koei, because when I grew up playing Dynasty Warrior and Summer Warrior, and they were in English, not in Japanese. So all suddenly you're not giving me the option to the language I want, and you're shoving Japanese in my throat, and you just want me to say, just outgrowing the voices and just move on. I don't know. So again, the only hope I can say about to Koei and Namco Bandai is English voice as a paid DLC. We'll see. So in conclusion, that's my open letter to Tecmo Koei, and maybe also to Bandai Namco, because they are in the same situation. And I hope you guys consider a paid English DLC. I think that's the only best solution. Yes, and I'm gonna say this as basically as a note. I'm just one guy. I'm just a guy who has a passion for video game. That's why I'm doing this Megamix game showcase video, because I have a passion for it. I grew loving the Musou game. I love the English voice, even if they're not as good as some people say, but that's subjective. And same thing with Namco Bandai. I bought their Gundam game from the PS2. I bought Namco game, Tekken. See, I'm an old gamer. I've been playing since, heck, the NES days. But when I discovered Koei from when I'm playing PS2, and so same thing with Namco Bandai in the PS2 era, that gave me joy more. Why I have a passion for video game. And right now I just kind of feel like my support, my dedication to those games, Tecmo Koei and Namco Bandai's, especially like I said for Tecmo Koei and Musou game, kind of like I've sort of felt betrayed. I know it's just a business. It's just a business, and they gotta make money. But it's kind of hard when you're very dedicated. Your passion basically gets in the way of business. But like I said, I'm only just one guy, a fan, a supporter of Koei. But at the same time, I really don't know if I should really keep supporting them. Right now, I am still supporting them, but maybe in the bottom. And I may be one guy, my own one opinion. I'm sorry, my conclusion is kind of lame here. I do apologize. But like I said, one more time, I may be one guy, but if someone follows suit by listening to my video and spreading the news, it might come too. It might spread more. It might not. I don't know, but I just want to get it out. Just want to state my opinion, my reasoning why I believe, especially in Koei games, to have English dub in their game. So, with that, that's my open letter to Tecmo Koei, and also to some extent Bandai Namco. I just hope, wish for the best. What's best for your company? We'll just see. Am I going to support you or not? It just really just depends what happens next. So that's it for now. Thanks for listening to the end. I'll see you guys later. Bye.